Hello. Today I'm going to be going over the authentication process for two different Johnny Depp photos that I was just given. One is this one here, 8 by 10 photo, and this is the other one, 11 by 14 Pirates of the Caribbean photo. Yeah, for those who don't know, he is a very generous signer for people. So there is tons and tons of exemplars that we have to go by. His autograph is pretty scribbly, and sometimes if he does sit down and do a really neat one, it is quite a bit different. But for the most part, when he is signing for people, and he will sign for hours outside of venues, those are fairly scribbly, but there is some key features, so let's just get into it. Okay, so these are some scans of the items. As you can see here, first impression, just looking at it, looks good. Here's the other one. Again, first impression, looks pretty good. Let's start going into our examples. So these are our known autographs. This one is a little closer to the long hand. You can see it's the line, it's that, the D. Sometimes the D is two parts, but it's usually just down and back up. It's a hook here, and then some form of peaks, kind of. This one's a little more typical. I had to zoom in, so it's kind of pixelated here, but we got the line. We got this part, and it's almost like this is more like a, I don't even know what to describe this as, but it's, it's not tall, it's more like going this way. But we got the D, the hook, some peaks. This part here usually comes down a fair bit, not always. This part here too, it's usually taller than down here, but again, certain circumstances may change that. Another example here, typical autograph. Standard, this is a two-part one here. We get a line, but then it starts again there. Comes a little more into the E, a couple peaks. This is a long form one, but you still have like the same basic starting way. The last name here, it's the full one though. Comes with the E's, the peaks. These ones here, these have been circulating from the trial that's currently going on. Apparently he's giving out these gifts to fans waiting outside. And they don't appear to be secretarial. They are shorthand. He's just signing Johnny. He's not signing a last name. This one's a little bit sloppy. It comes like over and it's a sharp curve. The handwriting up here matches his handwriting on all of them. And they're not all exactly the same. Like here we can see the M is a little different. We can also see this is spaced a little bit differently. There's something overlapping or something happening there, but we can see like these are definitely handwritten. These aren't just printed. So yeah, we got some good examples there. Photo here. Oops. Another photo. This one's a little sloppier, but we're getting the idea. At this point, this is a little more shorthanded, but and this part is over just a little more this way. This part's kind of going into it. This doesn't come down as much, but you get the basic idea. So let's go back to our items here. So I've already gone over, backlit these and made sure that there's no signs of tracing. We can see there's nice sharp edges. So it doesn't look like anything is going slowly. One thing I'm noticing here on the edge or on the ends of lines, you can see like strokes. I wonder if I could zoom in just a little bit more. There we go. You can see it's strokes, like almost bristly is the word. So that would be the marker getting kind of worn out, so it's not in a stiff peak. Okay, sorry, I got interrupted in the middle of filming here. So what I was saying, if a brush, or not a brush, a marker isn't like new and it's starting to wear out a little bit, it almost becomes brush-like, and so you get like these kind of stringy, like brush stroke looking ends on things. You don't really notice it at the start because it's kind of pressing down, more like a blobbing type pattern. But as it comes out and you're starting to move your hand off the paper, it's going to trail off like this. So as a marker wears, you will see a little less of like the speed ticks, but you may notice things like this where it's coming inwards and out, almost pointed. Down here we have a little bit of a speed tick happening, but again, it's like it's not the same thing. It's just like a wear. Unfortunately, right here, the next part of it overlaps it. That's just another thing I'll point out too. So he always starts with the line that comes down and then goes over, and you can see that the J part overlaps this line, and that the bottom signature is coming over it. And we can see that on both. There's line, and that is definitely coming over it, as well as the last name is coming over. That's coming down quite a ways on this one, but nothing I'd be too worried about. Again, things that, yeah, this is another one where you're seeing more of the strokes. It is starting to come out this way a little bit. This one is starting to tick up this way just a little, but you don't really get as good of ticks when it's wearing out like that. So let's just start comparing overall. So this is the 11:14 photo. Side-by-side comparison. We're looking pretty good. Again, this is the one where he was signing more of a full first name, but got the line, we got the rounded, elongated loop, and it comes over and down. Got the D, the rounded, comes up. The peak, actually that one's got a, and so it's just like kind of a little hook, not like a tick, but more of a hook. Same here, coming over, coming out, coming down. This one isn't coming down too far, but not a huge thing. Line starts up a little bit, comes over. Has a little bit of a hook on the end there too. Side by side. Again, this is the one that has the two-piece for the D, but side by sides we're looking fairly okay. And again, this was full signature, full Johnny in the Depp. So really not a point in comparing to this one. This was just to show some points on it, but coming out to a new one that again he's just signing his first name. We have the still elongated kind of round part, comes over, comes down. Yeah. Same thing, comes down. That's really close there. Actually, this one's really close here. Look at that. Comes over, comes around, comes up, and then just over. Again, this part's coming down much longer than it normally does, but that's not a big deal or anything. I always say if one little thing isn't enough of a red flag to worry about anything. And over here, this really sloppy one comes over. D's coming back up and just trailing off. So yeah, overall, I mean, his signature is pretty simple, but there are certain things that you start to notice and get a feel for. And overall, I'd say this one is good. I'm going to pass this one. Again, this was the 11 by 14. So I'm going to go back over here. And I'm just going to shrink this down a little bit. Let's compare this one now. Again, same thing. We got it's kind of rounded. The D, and this is a little bit. It's not as rounded. It's getting a little pointier, but nothing I'd be worried about yet. And some of them, again, this one's kind of pixelated, but it's not always kind of rounded. There are kind of pointier parts, but yeah, this one isn't as like drawn out. This part is coming over it, but overall, like, we're looking pretty good with side-by-side comparison so far. Side-by-sides are still looking pretty good. And again, just the first name one, but still looking good. And this one here, you can see this line's over a little closer to that part. And see, here is an example too, actually, where we're getting not as rounded, but a little pointier movements with the pen. So that's a good example of that. So there we go. We can't just say, oh, it doesn't look as round as it should be, because there are examples of things not always being as round as they should be. I was going to say as they should be, but as they sometimes are. That's the wording I want. Compared to that one. Compared to our last one. And again, here's an example where somebody could say, well, this line should be over farther, but no, it's not. It's not always. It still, and here's another one too, where this part just kind of trails a bit. Like if I go back to that first one again, where I said like that doesn't necessarily come down as far as it always does, but yeah, like there you go. It's, again, always depends on the signing circumstances, and like I've said, he's really good for staying and signing things for everybody. They're not always really rushed, but it still does depend on circumstances, and then people will still push and shove, even if they are going to get a chance no matter what. And so yeah, overall, side-by-side comparisons to known exemplars are looking good. Like I've said, he does have a kind of a scribbly signature, but there are key things that you're almost always looking for, like how the D goes down and then starts like come back, and just like the basic shape of the J. And there could be little variations on those little things. Don't be scared of little things. Overall, everything is indicating that these are authentic, and I have passed them both. Thank you for watching.